What was banned at your school and why? Buckets. They banned us from carrying backpacks between classes, so a couple guys started carrying around their textbooks in buckets. Edit. The reason given was it was a security safety issue. We could still bring backpacks to our school, but they had to be stored in our lockers by the start of first block. After someone put Halo CE on the network drive, and it started to rival Microsoft Word for most used software in the building, they had to ban that. Unfortunately, the person responsible for making the announcement had the computer literacy of a mountain goat. So the official rule was something like don't be downloading Halo websites on the computers. Cooking class. Superintendent decided that, I quote verbatim, cooking is an impractical art. Today, everyone can just buy pre-made meals and no one has time to cook, or they could be smart and hire a personal chef. This person makes over $150,000 a year after taxes and is in charge of 3 schools in the district, totaling 3,000 students. Edit. This is high school, by the way. Titty twisters. A weird dude in my class got a lot of laughs by letting people give him titty twisters. Apparently, after repeated and increasingly hard titty twisters, the connective tissue behind his nipple broke. So this guy could literally stretch his nipple 5-6 inches off his chest. Obviously, being a teenager and a weird one at that, he went around showing everyone and their mother his new ability. He got warned about it several times, and the final straw was when he was seen by the administration with an equally weird girl, sucking his nipple 5-6 inches off his chest. They immediately banned titty twisters, but there was really no need. We were all pretty scarred by what we had seen from this kid. Google. Our high school had some kind of contract with this really shitty school-appropriate search engine called NetTrekker. They banned using Google in school because it wasn't scholarly, only NetTrekker was allowed. They tried extending this to beyond the school. They wanted us to use only NetTrekker for internet searches outside school, and send home a pamphlet about internet rules outside the classroom. They said that students shouldn't have Android phones. I got a referral for having a Moto X smartphone. This was in 2015. Yo-yos. Kids turned them into flailing weapons. Some kid nearly lost an eye. Those were the days. Two-way hallways. Sounds crazy, right? The principal and his staff thought that it'd be a smart idea to have one-way hallways in order to cut down student traffic. If your locker was right around the corner, and you had to go against the traffic in order to get there, you had to walk all the way around. If you passed your class on the way to your locker, you had to make 2 circles around the building. This significantly increased tardiness and write-ups. Terrible idea. Looney Tunes characters on your clothes. It was the 90s at a shitty school. Bionicles because we would smash them together and whoever's helmet fell off first was the loser. So many bloody hands in grade 4. Any liquid not in a clear plastic bottle. And then the only liquid we could have was water. The ban was because a girl in my grade got caught with vodka in a clear plastic bottle. Everyone in my school never understood the ban because vodka is clear like water, and the only reason the teacher even caught on to her was because another dumbass kid was joking around about alcohol and the idiot with the vodka threw the bottle away in the garbage next to the teacher's desk. Sack whacking. Guys would hit each other in the balls as a prank or whatever. Apparently it was causing a big enough problem that the entire school had to attend an assembly where the deputy principal informed everyone. There has been a large outbreak of sack whacking. Entire school was laughing so hard, even the deputy, who was a really strict and uptight guy, started laughing his ass off. We were also banned from playing with large balls, basketballs, soccer balls at the same assembly. That was also received very well. My school would report you to the police if you were caught watching Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life. Happened twice in the year it was big. Have no idea why, but they just didn't like it. Weren't allowed to dye our hair unnatural colors. Banned hoop earrings and running like Naruto because a guy did that and fell down the stairs and broke his arm. Steel rulers. Some guy bashed the shit out of a bird with it. The word buckle, I kid you not. Back in grade 7 a few kids in one class had as word on a spelling test and thought it would be funny to just shout it out randomly. The teachers, believing it to be a code word for something more sinister, decided to outright ban the word across the school. Needless to say, the faculty became the brunt of many jokes both from students and their parents. Thermometers in middle school. Some idiots decided it was a fantastic idea to add mercury to their nachos. Caused the school to be on lockdown until the hazmat team DM'd it cleared. Short selling stocks. Our class was the first to go through new mandatory financial literacy classes, and part of it was a stock market simulation. We began betting against the market when we set it up to crash specific stocks, and each time our money rose exponentially. We had to fill out paperwork for each trade, which ended up amounting to around 30 pages of trades. At this point we had trillions. Our teacher was also very condescending about how great she was at the market, so we then bought huge percentages of her stocks and sold them pennies on the dollar to crash her stocks as well. After a while she checked everyone's progress and found we were trillionaires and went into a rage, even calling the company to see how we had cheated. They said we had short sold, which technically isn't cheating, but she still disqualified us from winning the class game and gave us B's. Now there's a disclaimer before every class that says you'll automatically fail if you short sell. We were banned from the gym at lunch. Used to go in the gym, shoot hoops, etc. Eventually we were playing dodgeball with basketballs. Errant throw broke the fire alarm and set it off for the whole school. We had to stay in the cafeteria after that. Candy necklaces at my middle school. One day a couple of my friends came into the playground before school started with a candy necklace each, which immediately got everyone's attention. After we all demanded to know where they got them and how much they cost, from the corner shop down the street in 10p, as I recall, one or two others said they might go and get one for themselves before school started. That might go turned into them sprinting to the shop once one kid figured out how to weaponize them. Holding one piece of candy between their teeth, stretching forward the elastic and biting down, it would catapult pieces of candy at whatever it was aimed at. That morning a few kids bought a candy necklace each, and played a game of firing bits at each other. The next morning all 400 kids that attended that school were engaged in all-out necklace war. Every single one of us must have had at least one in our own technique for maximizing the firing rate. After doing our best recreation of trench warfare all morning and having the kind of fun that only comes with an entire playground full of kids all playing the same game, we were all ushered into the assembly hall to be told that candy necklaces were now banned. Nobody lost an eye, just in case you were wondering. Yogurt eating contests were immediately banned at my high school when an overzealous football lineman vomited about a quart of yogurt and then attempted to re-eat the yogurt to win the contest. Domino vomit effect throughout the cafeteria. Dark jeans. Their logic was that when we'd stand against white walls resting against them, the color of the jeans would rub off. Blankets. It was the South and they keep the AC on too high because it's so freaking hot outside. Girls would wear shorts to be cool when outside, but they'd get too cold inside. Thus, the blankets to keep their legs warm in class. Of course, blankets are opaque. And, they were already being used to cover up legs. Well, if a girl started sharing a blanket with a guy, yeah, things could get a little handsy. T-ball was banned for a long time because a kid hit the ball and threw the bat to the side so he could run the bases. It hit a pregnant teacher in the stomach and she had a miscarriage. Google. They wanted to ban Gmail and someone kept finding alternate IPs and domains. Cafeteria trays. The events that led to this started with a fight breaking out in the cafeteria where one person stabbed the other with a fork. The next day metal forks had been banned and we were only given plastic sporks to eat with. A couple of weeks later another fight broke out in the cafeteria and a group of 3 students beat another student using the cafeteria trays. After that we had styrofoam trays in the cafeteria. Earrings on guys. This turned into a huge thing with students doing walkouts and yelling at teachers. It really was a stupid rule and as far as I know was ultimately dropped. Trench coats after Columbine. They tried to ban chains and spikes at my school, but that didn't work out so well. Kappa clothing. People would cover the top of the logo so that it looked like a woman with her legs open. The things children did before the internet. The Captain Underpants series. Shag bands. These plastic rubber bracelet things. Basically, if someone broke your shag band you supposedly had to have sex with them. A natural law according to some, but never, to my knowledge, ever enforced. The school got wind of it and became horrified that a bunch of 13-years would ever think something like this reasonable and came down on us with an iron fist. I vividly remember one teacher scornfully say so-called shag bands. And then spit in disgust. It was hilarious. Cell phones. Someone decided to make an Instagram account consisting solely of porn with teachers' heads photoshopped onto the porn stars' bodies. Hair color, colored bras, men with long hair, and nail polish. It was banned to share your Latin set text translations with other people due to the volume of money a few of us made selling versions on the black market. Thanks Cicero, your pro Calio paid for an iPod. Edit because a few people have asked where this was. This was a Scottish boarding school where all translation websites were blocked by the school filter. And I did classical Greek too. Though that was a much smaller market. Candy canes. Apparently, they were a safety hazard because you could suck on them and sharpen them into a point, which could then theoretically be used to stab somebody. Most of our school suspected that it was simply a way of getting the Ugly Christmas Sweater Club, a group of guys who wore ugly sweaters to school and roamed the hallways handing out candy canes while playing Christmas music, in trouble. It was by far the dumbest thing to ever happen at my high school. It doesn't translate well into English, but gay piles. Basically, if someone was on the ground because they fell or were wrestling with someone or whatever, this was middle school, someone would yell gay pile. And everyone nearby would throw themselves in a pile on top of them. It wasn't a problem until some 20 kids decided to throw themselves on top of some poor guy. Selling candy. Kids would spend their lunch money on gum candy at Bulk Barn and wood pieces for 25c each. Pens. I'm not joking. Kids would buy somewhat fancy pens and then there would be a bunch of trading. Dude, let me snag that uni ball, I'll give you 2 Pilot G2s and commotion. I remember there was a kid that everyone envied because of his Mont Blanc pen. Pretty soon, the school just banned using any outside pens and issued 2 of those crappy Bic round sticks. We were crafty though and started to replace the ink cartridges with those from our fancier pens. So yeah, it was basically Prohibition Pen Edition. Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic, and Pokémon cards. Some of the kids at school started trading and selling them during lunchtime. But it got so bad as the kids were actually selling stolen cards they got from other students. My friend was swirlied one morning for his deck and later that day he saw a kid with his Dark Magician card. He knew it was his because he had a tendency to chew the ends of his cards. The teachers put a stop to all of it, including playing the card games and bringing them on school grounds. Had this little Bible study group that would meet during lunch, once a week. It grew in size really fast, so some of the parents of the kids started bringing homemade lunches to give to the kids that attended. Anyone was accepted to join, they never ran out of food, and it was free, so kids that didn't have money or wasn't on the food plan could eat something other than straight junk food. It was stuff like sandwiches and chips, but still better than the shitty cafeteria food. After a while though, the group grew a little too big to the point where the school board found out about it and shut down the parents bringing lunches for the attendance because it was lowering the amount of kids buying from the cafeteria. Fucking ridiculous. After that, they instituted a rule that parents couldn't bring lunches to kids anymore. The overall reasoning was it lowered the cafeteria profits. If you didn't have money or a lunch, you were shit out of luck. We weren't allowed to yell Kobe anymore. This was mostly because of kids shooting balled up paper into trash cans and missing terribly. TL Dr. Stoners outsmart administration. Drug dogs. They started bringing in drug dogs in my sophomore year. They would smell the lockers and cars, and if one hit on your locker or car you had to go open them up and let the school search it. By my junior year a group of stoners had enough of it. They took bong water and put it in a bunch of spray bottles and sprayed it on all the lockers and cars they could. My school had about 1,400 kids in it. It took one time of having 300 kids pulled out of class to have the lockers searched to make them rethink the policy. What really got the parents to force the school to stop though was the cars. When drug dogs hit on a spot they kind of go nuts. Imagine 25 cars getting a hit and having dogs scratch the hell out of the paint for a search that found nothing. Many parents didn't push too hard, but some were demanding that the school pay for the damage. So no more drug dogs. Aerosol cans, because we would put them in the toilet, set them on fire and blow the toilet up. Talking at lunch. Why? Really, I just don't know. KFC, due to one boy constantly bringing it in. He won the biggest fan of KFC award at the end of school. My school finally banned the freshman auction after they realized it resembled slavery. Carrying backpacks in class caused terrorists and shit.